Hi boys and girls, this is Mrs. Twisdale. Today we're working on lesson 5.2, writing percents as decimals and fractions. So your objective today is I can convert a percentage to a decimal and a fraction. So first of all, it's really important to know this. You can write the same amount as a fraction, a decimal, or a percent. Just like when we did ratios, there's 3 ways to write a ratio. There's 3 ways to write the same amount. So here's an example or two. No, there's 3. So look at the model first. If you look at this, you notice the 10 by 10 grid is halfway colored in. So we can write that as a fraction of 50 over 100 or 1/2. Okay, simplified it's to 1/2. We can write this same amount as half as a decimal, 0.5. There's a decimal right there. And we can also write 50 out of 100 is 50%. Down on this next one, we have 20 boxes colored in, which is 21 hundredths, which simplified is 1/5. Or we could write it as 20 hundredths as a decimal, or 20% as a fraction, or as a percentage. And then this last one here, I kind of got creative with my coloring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 boxes would be 7 100ths, or 7 hundredths as a decimal, or finally it'd be 7%. So there's those 3 different ways to write them, and if we know how to do one, we can solve for the other 2. Or if we have a fraction, we can solve for a decimal and percent. So we can go back and forth between and find all 3, and that's what we're going to do over the next 2 days. So first of all, we're going to take a percentage and write it as a decimal. There's 2 steps. First of all, you need to find the decimal. They have a different step here, but I like this one the best. Find the decimal in the number. So we have 72%. And 72%, the decimal is technically right before that percentage sign, right? Because it's a whole number. And we just need to move the decimal 2 places to the left and then drop off the percentage sign. So we have 0.72. And that's our decimal. Oops, that's weird. So if you notice, the numbers are the same. You just move that decimal over 2 places to the left. And that will give you your decimal. Okay? Now, look at this one. Another example. We first find the decimal, which it's right here. And this would be 251, like that. We move it 2 place values to the left, which would give us 0.2581. Now we just wrote 25 and 81% as a decimal. Sorry, she's so grumpy. She's a little bit sad. She's trying to go to sleep. Okay, so when we write it as a fraction, we take the 2 steps again. We're going to write the number over 100. Oh, that was weird. Oh, sorry guys, this should be a percent here. Okay. We write the number over 100. And then we simplify, which this one is simplified. There's nothing else we can do. So it's 27 100ths. Make sure, a lot of students will do this. They'll do 27% over 100. Don't do that. Take that percentage sign off. As a fraction. So we drop that percentage sign and we write the number over 100. And then we can simplify this by dividing each number by 10. Oh, sorry. Let me try that again. I'll do this. Divide by 10. Remember, if I do whatever to the top, I do the bottom. And that would be 7/10. And there's my simplified fraction. So it's the exact same amount. 70% is the same as 7/10. Okay, so here's some example and try it problems. We're going to write this percent as a fraction or a mixed number for some of them. So for example, for 17%, you drop the percentage sign off. Oops. And then you just write 17 over 100. And that's all the way simplified. Okay, go ahead and try the next 2 on your own. Okay, so I drop the percentage sign, write 20 over 100, and this one can be simplified if I divide by, let's divide by 20. 20 divided by 20 is, whatever I do at the top to do at the bottom, is 1. 100 divided by 20, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100 is 5. Be 1/5. Alright, and then this last one is kind of tricky. So 125% is 100% plus 25%. So when you change this to a fraction, you want the 100% to represent a whole number, and then 25% would be 25 100ths. And 25 100ths simplifies to 25 and 1/4, or sorry, 1 and 1/4, and that would be your mixed number. So that's kind of a trickier problem. If you need help with that, please let me know, because I want to explain it, but I might need to explain it again. Okay, this time we're going to make them into decimals. Remember your 2 steps. You find the decimal, move it 2 places to the left. I can write that down here to remind you. To the left. And if you need to, you can add zeros as well. Okay, so on this one example, we have 89%. My decimal would be right here. Drop off that decimal or the percentage sign. Move 2 place values to the left, and you have that as your decimal. Okay, go ahead and try it on your own. All right, so 30%. You'd have 30. Oh, sorry. That's weird. Your decimal would be right here. You're going to move it 2 places to the left. 1, 2. And it would be 0.30. Okay, and then this last one, we would have 2 decimal. And now this one's kind of tricky. We still need to move it 2 places to the left. We have to add in a 0 there. So this would be 0.02. Don't forget that 0 in there, because if not, then you have 20%, which is different than 2%. Alright, here's one from yesterday. What percent represents the shaded part? This is a review, try it from yesterday. Go ahead and try this one on your own. Okay, so we want to count the shaded part. Each box is 1%. So here's 10%, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 1, 2, 3, 4, 85%. And that's all you have to do on that one. Hopefully you got that one right, because that was a review problem. Okay, here's your last problem. This is a level 4 try it problem. In Mr. Klein's class, 40% of the students are boys. What decimal represents the portion of the students that are girls? I want you to go ahead and try this one on your own. So first of all, if I was to represent the class as 100%, 40% are boys, which means that what percentage are girls? So remember, it always adds up to 100%, so the opposite would be 60% are girls. Now I need to take 60% and write it as a decimal, which, remember, you find where is the decimal. Here, 2 places to the left, so 0.6 or 0.6 would be your answer there. Alright, boys and girls, that's all of your lesson for today. This skill is really important, and it takes just a lot of practice, because the more you practice it, the more you remember how to do it when you get to those test problems, because just like addition and multiplication, it's just something that you want to be able to do fast and not have to think about. So I'm going to have you do lots of practice problems, maybe do your homework page or something, so that I can have you really practicing this skill so that you feel confident enough to do it whenever you need to. Okay, that's all of our lesson today. Thanks so much. Have a great day of learning.